Hello and welcome to Part of the Interception with your hosts Lee Wood.
Nick Taylor.
Simon Wood.
And as you can see, Nick currently is without a permanent abode, so he is joining us from his fourth location of the season.
Got to mix it up. We lost a presenter this week as well. What happened, Si?
She's downstairs sleeping.
Oh,
That's fair. Right, let's go and have a look at around the leagues this week. So, started off in the GFL. We've got the Thames Valley Terror at the Scapa Flow Dreadnoughts. A close game here, being won in the end by the home team, despite being quite significantly behind on yardage, and the turnover battle not being massively different. Simon, what can you make of this?
It's one of those ones where you kind of look at it and you go, what's going on here? Is there some special teams jiggery pokery? And you look and there is some special teams jiggery pokery going on. There's some rather large kick return, well, not rather large, but 30 average on the kick returns, whereas his opponent was only going for what, 10, 15? So that's a lot of field position being gained.
Nick, anything further to add?
well, the coolest thing is the MVP is an inside linebacker, which we don't see very often.
And
Do you love defensive MVP award?
If I remember my days from proxying for you in the Atlantic, don't you like to have about 7 inside linebackers on your roster?
Yes. I only ever play 2, but most of the time. But I do love an inside linebacker. I'm not gonna lie.
I do quite like bank stats in these games as well. Average of 47.7 per catch.
There you go.
I'm going to catch it 3 times, and I'm going to make sure they're long.
Yeah, it does the job. Disappointing he doesn't
it.
have any touchdowns. Couldn't quite get to the end zone.
Yeah,
longest is 71.
Quite take it to the bank.
Longest is 71, and that's not the end zone. This is not the end zone you're looking for.
Okay, moving on. Our second game in the GFL is the Quake at the Mustangs. A road win here for the Quake in a bit of a ding-dong battle. Looks like this game could have gone either way, but the Quake just managing to get what potentially might be seen here as an upset win on the road. Mustangs had a better passing game and a better running game, but just didn't manage to get into the end zone as much. Those five turnovers are definitely going to be the key to that, I would have thought. Nick?
Yeah, as you just alluded to, 5 turnovers to none is going to be pretty harmful to the chances of winning. I mean, the Quake are very good, so Gary's probably had a pretty reasonable game here as well. So I think most of the time we expect the Quake to go deep into the playoffs. And they're just proving that they're still very strong. Kinnard here getting an MVP award as well. With the longest run of 7, he's just doing the hard yards there this game.
Simon, anything further to add?
It'd be quite easy to just look at this game and then go, there's 5 turnovers decided the game. Then you look at the drives of the Mustangs, and they just didn't get anywhere near as many first downs. And when you're in this ding-dong long passing battle, that's going to mean less points. So it probably was 50-50, weirdly, even with the 5 turnovers.
Yeah, they only got 2 less first downs overall, though.
Did they?
Yeah, they got 13 first downs as opposed to 15.
Yeah. Well,
the running back's done the work here.
Yeah, sure.
Kinnard.
Oh, it's because they converted a 4th down. That's what I'm not looking at. It's interesting.
But yeah. Okay, anything else before we move on to the Atlantic? Okay, the first game we've got in the Atlantic is the Sharks at the Blues. Nick, what can you make of this?
So, yeah, two teams that have been performing very well at the start of the season. Sometimes underrated. We never quite know what Kevin's going to do. He's got great defense. Always says that his away games are, not nowhere near as good as his home games due to the players he's got. but he's pulled off a big win here against the Blues. The Blues were looking like potential favourites for their division. So, yeah, the Sharks have done a great job. Scardino hasn't done as much running as he would normally do. He's actually decided to throw the ball a little bit more, which has probably helped out. Yeah, good win for the Sharks. Well, big win for the Sharks, really. That division is looking pretty spicy this year. And an offensive tackle getting an MVP. Good service from him.
Simon, anything else to add from you?
It's just a shame not to see more injuries going to the Sharks. I've had quite a few already, and it'd be nice to see a few more. Just soften them up before I play them.
Okay.
That's what I'm
And
looking
the second game we've got from the Atlantic is the Spitfires at the Stingrays. Nick, what jumped out at you about this?
Well, we weren't really sure where the Stingrays were at the start of the season. You know, the coaches moved on and new coach in, and you expect them to put a bit of a stamp on it themselves, which they more than likely have done. But the Stingrays are still very good. Maybe starting to maybe look even better than they were last season to some extent. And this is a big win because the Spitfires have started the season off very well. I think Avery's done a huge job here, 7 yards per carry. He's just sort of run all over the Spitfires, and yeah, big win for the Stingrays. Shows their credentials in the CFC. They've got probably be favourites for this. I'd say the CFC this season to make the bowl. And yeah, Greg's going to be probably a little disappointed with this result, but you know, can't really complain too much. It's just a big win for the Stingrays.
Simon, anything else to add?
It was interesting, yeah, seeing the lack of receiving yards and fake Strom popping them.
Storm.
Oh yeah, Storm. Dyslexic Strom.
He meant to call him Strom, but just slipped on the keyboard.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else before we move on to the Big Sky?
Yep.
Okay, so the first game at the Big Sky we've got is the Surfers at the Weasels. Simon.
Seems the Big Sky just love one of those games that goes into overtime. Seem to be getting them a lot, and this year doesn't disappoint. Bit of an upset as well with the Super Weasels not doing quite so well over this season, but they're managing to. I believe they're 1-2 going into this, whereas the Surfers are 3-0. So you know, a bit of an upset coming in overtime. What more can you ask for?
Nick, anything further to add?
I'd say Hopkins. It feels like Hopkins has kind of stolen the MVP award away from Gunn, who's it looks like he's done most of the hard work, 8 yards per carry, but Hopkins has run it into the end zone. So yeah,
that stupid showman.
Yeah. So yeah, like big win for the Super Weasels. Surfers would be a little disappointed. Gary Stevens featured twice this week, so you know his teams are doing well. Yeah, good win for the Super Weasels. Unfortunate for the Surfers here.
Okay. Moving on, we've got the Giant Hornets at the Eagles. Simon, yet another overtime game.
As I told you, the Big Sky love overtime. You know, you can't get enough gridiron, so they have to go into a fifth quarter. It's just how it works. You know, why the hell is it a fifth quarter big? But anyway, let's not get into that. Have a great game. Watch it, enjoy it.
Mr. Bate, drinker of beer, hangover extraordinaire at drafts. I think I've been to most live drafts since I've been playing Gridiron. I think Andy has not shown up to a few because he's got too pissed the night before. The GMs even have it in the presentation currently that Andy's not there because he is pissed still. Nick, anything else to add about this?
Just a couple of things. Firstly, it's good to see Tripson again. We haven't featured Tripson this season. Actually, wasn't the best receiver for the Giant Hornets, which was a surprise. And secondly, Creef has got MVP award after we mentioned him last week. I think last week he had like 9 sacks or something ridiculous. Not quite so savage this week, but he's still done some serious work by the looks of it.
He's still
good
giving
win
people
for the
grief.
Eagles. Indeed. Good win for the Eagles here. Yeah.
Anything else before we move on to the continental? Yes, continental. That's next. I forgot what league we was in.
We're going all John Wick.
I am indeed. Right, down to the continental. Hangers Privateers. Nick, what the happened here?
I don't think there's anything that didn't happen in this game. I mean, like, I was looking up the scores on, was it Saturday? I think I was checking through the scores, jumped on the sea to try and get an idea of which games to cover, and clicked through to the best players. I see 707 passing yards. I think, oh, that's got to be a good game. Look at the score, and I'm like, oh, actually, the other guy got 600 passing yards as well, and there's like 150 points scored. I don't remember seeing a game quite so with a score quite so big as this one. I mean, pretty much everything happened, and the Privateers have done it in the fourth quarter as well. That fourth quarter, 21 points to 8. So they've made a bit of a comeback there. Yeah, I mean, just go check this game out if you haven't checked it out already. It's 74-77. I mean, it's crazy.
I've got a feeling that if you watch it on the play-by-play player where you see the chains move, your neck's going to get sore from going back and forth so bloody much. Simon, anything else to add?
It's just interesting looking at the team sheets, and it's like ding dong long pass battle. They're both playing a 3-4. Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that's something to do with it. Maybe they have no quarterbacks. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just a mad game. I mean, even the best running back has nearly 200 running yards as well. So it's, all the records under the sun. Hangers best passing record. Privateers best passing record. Privateers passing touchdown 6. It's just mad.
One receiver getting 580 yards on their own.
I mean, that is crazy. Like 580 receiving yards. Like.
And not getting MVP because of the losing team.
The question is, did he get injured? You would have thought that amount of yardage is going to get you injured.
Let's have a look. Barcelona Hangers.
I mean, like 580 yards is more than like a fair few wide receivers get for a season.
Yeah. Like a 500 yard season's usually okay for a journeyman wide receiver.
Yeah, it's just mad.
The Hangers are on their second string quarterback because their main one is injured.
Okay.
Well, not only that, the Hangers quarterback didn't even get with his 700 yards, didn't even get the MVP award because they lost. So.
And Ingold, the running back, got the injury rather than the stupid wide receiver.
I mean, 33 carries. I can see it. Anyway, moving on. We have the classics at the Renegades. Nick, what brought your eyes out here?
Well, a few less points in this game, but this is two teams who have started the season very well. So we thought we'd feature them. I'm not sure how much they've got featured in the past. Probably a little bit, but not too much. But a classic close game. First 2 quarters kept pretty tight, 6-3 at halftime, and then it sort of exploded a little bit in the second half. It's nice to see. It's fairly balanced all round. There's nothing. I think it's a classic close game. Small margins have made a big difference, and as alluded to earlier, it's nice to see inside linebackers getting MVP awards, and there's another one in this game.
Miss Marple as well.
Yeah. So yeah, great game I think, and well worth a watch if you get a chance. I think the C games this week were all pretty close and pretty interesting. So if you want to go check out some games, go to the C. I think there's a 40-49 as well. So lots of points scored.
Simon, anything to add?
It's an interesting one with the passing game of the Renegades kind of performing fairly well for one quarterback, but not for the other. But yeah, might have been a bit more interesting if maybe that one quarterback that was doing well was on the field all the time.
Yeah, it looks like they've mixed it up a little bit between maybe a bit of deep zone and a bit of short zone. So
Okay. Moving on to the Delta, the first game we've got here is the Venom at the Jets. So the obvious thing to do here is start with Nick.
yeah, I mean, the biggest issue I have here is neither coach has commented on the game. I mean, what's that all about?
Neither coach cares.
That's because I think both coaches have been quite busy this past week, unfortunately. Hence why we're recording this late at night on a Wednesday on the fly.
Yeah, with no graphics this week. Yeah, pretty good game by the looks of it, guys. Golden performance this week for the running back of the Jets. I don't really know much about the D. All I know is congrats, Lee. Commiserations, Si. I'll leave it to you guys.
This game was pretty much going to come down to, could I stop Simon's pass better than Simon could stop my run? That was pretty much the game as far as I could see, and it seems like I managed to keep him out the end zone slightly more than he kept me out. So
It was just a flip of the coin. Like, I knew that going into it, so you can't really be that upset when you lose.
no, this I feel home field advantage played out here. I was always going to have the higher possession because I'm going to run the ball up the middle, and so I'm just going to try and throw the ball over the top. So
I think the other thing is, if Si's team had turned up for the first half, it might have helped. 0 points and 0 for disappointing.
But as Goff said, wang bang fang sang, just not on the field enough. Possession battle can't score offensive points if your offense is on the bench.
Yeah.
It's a problem with the deep passing only offense. You have to make use of the time you get.
Right. Anything else before we move on to the other game in the D?
No.
Okay. And got the robber barons at the Colts. So a ding dong battle here. Simon decided to comment on this game as opposed to his own.
This game's much more interesting.
But Jeff managing to pull out a potential upset win here as Simon's. I'm losing track. I think he's your second favorite quarterback. Might be your first favorite quarterback in the league at the minute.
Which one's that?
Brocious, isn't that your favorite quarterback at the minute? Because Brocious, because what's his face? Kendall's old quarterback's not playing anymore, I think.
Is he not?
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Is that why Kendall's winning games now? Actually putting a proper quarterback out.
But yeah, one of Simon's favourite quarterbacks in the league, who come off a very good season and was looking even stronger going into this season. I thought the robber barons were, and Jeff's been talking his team down an awful lot. But I think I'm going to call this an upset win. Simon?
It's not really an upset win. I think Jeff has learned from LJE to, speak a lot of bollocks about how crap his team is and then beat everyone. And, I think that's what the game he's playing at the moment. But I think as much as I like to take the piss out of Glenn's quarterback, I think this does just show the value of actually focusing. It's a lot harder to defend it properly, and
knowing roughly what level Gardner is from him being on the trade board, that cornerback can shut down an awful lot.
Yeah, he was one of my cornerbacks. So. Yeah. I traded him to Jonathan last year.
Yeah,
he's a very good long pass quarterback. Cornerback.
Both.
Hey, but if you've got one decent cornerback and one decent inside linebacker against a 40-40 quarterback, it's not going to be able to pass properly, and that it's not that hard to get.
Nick, apart from Nibs, should have been on the field for the entire time with his 100% completion rate. What else can you make of this?
Nakajima should have carried the ball a bit more. 15-yard carry. Okay, yep. 3 carries, but did fumble it once as well. Disaster. So he had one run of 45 yards and 2 runs of nothing.
Zero.
Interesting.
I'll
10
take it.
turnovers. Yeah.
I mean,
it makes one big difference, that one run, you know.
I'm going to run on first down. I'm going to run on second down. I'm going to run on third down. One of these is going to get 45 yards. The others are making it to the line of scrimmage. I'm going to take it.
Pick
The
me,
Colts.
coach. I'll get it done once. Did the job. So,
The Colts did get a lot of yards on turnovers, which does help as well.
yeah, there's a lot of turnovers in this game. 10
Yeah,
turnovers.
The Colts got like a 50-yard and a 30-yard turnover, whereas all the Robert Barron's turnovers were just 0 yards.
Hey.
It can make a difference.
Anything else before we move on to the Empire?
Yep.
Okay, first game in the Empire we've got is the Hurricanes at the Thunder. Nicholas, what's brought us here?
So Hurricanes been doing fairly well this season, and this game turns out to be quite a bit of an upset. Thunder haven't what they got the first win, I want to say. I think Bob's mentioned he's got his first win there. So yeah, like the Hurricanes started the season off well. Probably expected them to win this game. The biggest draw to this game is there's 15 turnovers in the game, which is pretty crazy. Once again, another defensive MVP in Vinny, cornerback Vinny, who's done a stellar job there. Yeah, a great game. Great game from Thunder. Certainly wasn't expecting it, but as we all know, Thunder beats Hurricanes in the classic battle of weather conditions. So
I'm assuming this is Bob Speakman, formerly of the Atlantic, as well.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's an unusual enough name that I'd find it odd if we had a different Bob Speakman join.
Yeah.
Simon, anything else that jumps out at you here?
No, it's very one-sided for a team that gone 0-3 against one that's gone 2-1.
Yeah. The stats are pretty close as well. It's kind of interesting.
Hurricanes just couldn't get their offense going. Maybe.
Right, moving on, we've got the Lions at the Texans. Nick, what brought your attention here?
So this is slightly different to the previous games I've picked. I thought I'd see how the Lions are doing. They lost heavily last week, and it was a big game for them because if they got the win here, it was putting them in a good position for the rest of the season. And they've come to the Lone Star State and put up a big statement victory here. 400 passing yards and over 100 rushing yards. They've done a great job. I believe this puts them to 3-1 and puts them two wins ahead of second place in the division. So great position to be in, nearly midway through the season. And yeah, just an overall great performance from the Lions. I mean, we briefly mentioned them last season as looking sort of there or thereabouts, and they started the season off badly and couldn't quite get going. And this could be their season to make a bit of a run at it.
Simon, anything else to add here?
Just domination from the Lions, So, Postman Pat level domination.
But so that brings us to the end of our scheduled programming for today. Or does it? How can we, in a week where the herd play the hunters, not cover a bonus game?
What is the herd versus the high hunters?
We shall never know. It has never been confirmed.
The Thundering Herd.
No, it's Tacoma Thundering. That's the place. And it's the herd. It's Jacksonville High Hunters.
Correct.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
But Pat managing to lead his team to a victory here, despite being outpassed by Leach. Nick, what can you make of this?
It's just classic Jacksonville High Hunters doing Jacksonville High Hunter things. Legend has been kind of leading the team. I think Pat had a great game first week, if I remember correctly. But since then, Legend's been doing a lot of the hard work, and he's done a lot of the hard work here. Like no big runs, longest of 9, but he's running 5 touchdowns. He's fumbled the ball a little bit, but 5 touchdowns is pretty huge. And that's where you get paid, or well, we're playing Gridiron, so they're not getting paid. But that's that's what you get known for. Big game for Jacksonville, Jacksonville High, sorry. And I think like Dean probably came into the match not necessarily expecting too much, but to pretty much be close to on par with Jacksonville High Hunters away from home. I mean, he looks like by the comments, he looks like he's pretty pleased with his performance, and I'd probably be pretty pleased with the performance given how well Jacksonville High have done this season.
Simon, anything to add?
Yeah, it's just one of those games where it kind of shows the value of having a bit of run with your pass. Might have been the one-dimensional element of the herd just holding them back a bit there, and letting I Am Legend and Postman Pat kind of dominate.
With that, that will actually bring us to a close for this week. Anything else from either of you two as a passing note?
Or will it bring us? Oh yeah, it will bring us to a place.
Okay.
A bit of a quick roundup this week, but we want to get something out and show as many games and as many teams as we can. So yeah, thanks for watching.
Here's a passing note for you then.
Okay, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.